Once upon a time, well, the mid-2000s, Trey Songz was that guy in R&B. Smooth voice, good looks, charm for days, he had it all. He gave us bangers, bedroom anthems, and a vibe that felt like the golden age of R&B was alive and well. People loved him, and for a while, it really felt like he was on his way to becoming a legend in the game. But fast forward to now, and it's a completely different story. Trey Songz's career has taken a very sharp turn and is not in a good way. Over the past few years, he's faced some very serious allegations and accusations that have shaken up his image and pushed him further and further out of the public eye. The guy who once sang love songs and played the role of a charming heartthrob is now at the center of conversations about accountability and misconduct. It's a jarring shift and it raises big questions, not just about Trey himself, but about how the music industry handles this kind of situations. What happens when the person behind the microphone isn't who we thought they were? And why does the industry seem so slow or sometimes unwilling to respond when things go wrong? That being said, a word from our sponsor.
Let's take a little break from the usual programming because I have to put you onto something that is going to change your self-care routine in the best way possible. So I've teamed up with my friends at Bellesa to make sure that everyone, yes, everyone, can treat themselves to something special. I and my friends at Bellesa are giving away free vibrators or gift cards to everyone who signs up to my giveaway. Let me show you what's in store because these toys, they are literally next level. First up, we have the Pebble. The Pebble is designed to fit perfectly in your hand with independent suction and vibration control. What I love about the Pebble is that it has no annoying pattern modes, no random poses, and is literally just exactly what you're in the mood for every single time. Then there is the Air Vibe. The Air Vibe is an absolute powerhouse. It gives you dual stimulation for both the G-spot and clit at the same time, all in the most discreet casing. One thing I love about the Air Vibe is that it's so quiet that you could use it anywhere, no questions asked. It's waterproof and USB rechargeable, so you're covered no matter where you are or what you're feeling. Next up is the Flutter Vibe. The Flutter Vibe though, I'm not gonna lie, this is my personal favorite. It simulates the feeling of a tongue with this amazing fluttering motion and it gives you that oral experience but with more precision and stamina. It's waterproof and it has that same whisper quiet motto and it comes in the sleekest case possible for ultimate discretion. Honestly, all the cases from Bellesa, they actually are very discreet. You will literally think that this is makeup that I'm holding except I show you and tell you, oh my god, this is a vibrator. Next up on the list, we have the Thumb. The Thumb, this one is a total game changer. It vibrates, it suctions, and it literally thumbs thanks to Bellesa's pleasure jet and thumb technologies. It's designed to be your go-to for clitoral pleasure and is made from premium silicone and it comes in a very discreet carrying case that makes it super easy to store or to travel with. You cannot tell me that my glasses are not inside here because this literally looks like my glass case. If you see me holding this on the street, you actually think that my glasses are inside, but no, it's actually my thumb vibrator. What I love about my friends at Bellesa is that they're all about empowering us to embrace and to explore our sexuality without any shame. And the best part, everyone who signs up to this giveaway gets a free toy or a gift card to grab exactly what they are feeling. The link is in the description box and also in the pinned comment. So seriously, go and claim yours because honestly, you do deserve it. Alright, let's jump back into this video, but do not wait too long to sign up. Treat yourself to some next level pleasure and thank me later.
Thank you so much, Bellesa, for sponsoring this video, and thank you so much to all of you who always come up to support me because without you guys, I will not be getting valuable sponsorship like this. That being said, let me introduce myself. Hi guys, my name is Joe, and on this channel, I speak about whatever I want to speak about, deep dives, documentary, whatever. So if that's your vibe, okay, kindly like, share, subscribe if you care. That being said, let's get straight into this video. Before the fame, the hit songs and the headlines, Trey Songz was just dreaming out on Never Seen. He was a kid from Petersburg, Virginia, and he was born on November 28, 1984. Growing up, music wasn't necessarily the dream from day one, but life had other plans. In 2003, everything changed when a record producer named Troy Taylor discovered him. That moment, pure love, hustle, or fate, depending on how you see it, it kickstarted his path into the music world. Troy didn't just see a talented singer, he saw a superstar potential. And it wasn't long before Trey Songz actually landed a deal with Songbook Entertainment, which teamed up with Atlantic Records. That deal laid the foundation for his rise in the R&B world. From the jump, Trey Songz was all about blending smooth R&B vibes with a little hip-hop edge. He wasn't trying to be a cookie-cutter artist. He had his own sound and he worked hard to just make it stand out. You could hear the hunger in his early tracks. He was determined, he was focused, and he was willing to put in the work to carve out his space in a very crowded music scene. Of course, people in the industry started to take notice, and there was just something about him. There was something about his voice, his style, his energy, and these things just made people believe that he was going to be one of the greats. Trey Songz didn't waste any time once he got his foot in the door. His first album, I Gotta Make It, dropped in 2005, and he made an impressive debut. It landed at number 20 on the Billboard 200. Guys, let's not forget that this was the time where there was no streaming era, and albums and music, they were bought physically, and this was his first album, and it literally landed at number 20 on the Billboard 200. For a newcomer, this was no small feat. The title said it all, I Gotta Make It, and Trey Songz literally had his eyes on the top, and he was already there, and he was ready to grind to get there. Then came Trey Day in 2007, and this was a project that really started turning heads. It climbed even higher on the chart, and it peaked at number 11. More than that, it gave us the single Can't Help But Wait. Can't Help But Wait was a smooth, heartfelt track that showed off Trey's vocal chops and also earned him his very first Grammy nomination. This was the moment that people started saying, okay, this guy, he's the real deal. But his big breakout, that was Ready in 2009. This album changed everything. Trey didn't just level up, he literally launched. Ready hit number 3 on the Billboard 200, and it gave us club and radio hits like Say Ah featuring Fabulous, Say Ah 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 Ah, Say Ah 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 Ah, I ain't no drinks at the bar, pop champagne till we get that though. This track was literally everywhere, and it was everywhere for a good reason. It cracked the Billboard Hot 100 top 10, and it kept Trey Songz's name buzzing. The album itself also snagged him another Grammy nomination, and this solidified his space in the R&B game. Then in 2010, he dropped Passion, Pain and Pleasure, and the title perfectly captured what fans loved about his music: emotion, vulnerability, and those smooth signature vocals. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200, and it sold a whopping 240,000 copies in its first week. The album hit Bottoms Up with Nicki Minaj, became one of the biggest chart successes, and it hit number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100. Eventually, the album went platinum, and this was a huge milestone for any artist, and it was proof that Trey wasn't just a one-album wonder. By the time Chapter 5 came out in 2012, Trey Songz was in full superstar mode. The album debuted at number 1, and it became his first chart-topping project, and it cemented his place as one of the leading voices in modern R&B. And just to show that it wasn't a fluke, his 2014 follow-up album Trigger also debuted at number 1. At that point, Trey Songz was just more than successful. He literally was a certified hitmaker, and he had a very loyal fan base, and he also had back-to-back chart domination. At the height of his fame, Trey Songz was the R&B heartthrob. He had the whole package. He had good looks, he had a velvet smooth voice, and he had lyrics that oozed sex appeal. Everything about his image was curated to charm, and it worked, especially for his female fan base. He wasn't just a singer, he was the fantasy. Atlantic Records just leaned all the way into that, and they marketed him as this modern day R&B lover boy with a touch of hip hop edge. But Trey Songz wasn't just singing hooks, he was writing, he was producing, and he was even acting. He wanted to be known as more than just a voice. He wanted to be known as the talent that he was. For the first 10 years of his career, Trey Songz was on fire. He dropped album after album, and each one made waves. All 5 of his early records landed in the top 20 on the Billboard 200, and he racked up top 15 solo singles that cracked the top 10 on the R&B hip-hop charts. That kind of consistency, that is rare. He was the kind of artist that you could count on for a hit every single summer. And he didn't just stop at music. He started testing the waters in Hollywood too, like I said earlier, because in 2013 he starred in Texas Chainsaw 3D.
Who is that? Hey! Hey! Go. What the
After that, he followed that up with a role in Baggage Claim. Here, he played a flashy big-time producer and he was just oozing with confidence and charm. This movie wasn't Oscar bait though, but it literally worked for him. It gave him another lane to shine and he also kept his name buzzing just beyond the radio charts. By the time Chapter 5 dropped in 2012 and went straight to #1, Trey Songz was already untouchable. He had the music, he had the looks, he had the fandom, he had everything to just make him a legend. Everything pointed to a long, steady career across both film and music. He had successfully crossed over from being just another singer to being a full-on entertainer and also a celebrity. Even with the shiny image and the polished public persona, cracks has started to show. And for a while, it was very easy to see Trey Songz as just this smooth-talking R&B star. But behind the scenes, some red flags they were beginning to surface. One major moment came on December 28, 2016 during a concert in Detroit. What should have just been another energetic performance ended in chaos. So according to police, Trey Songz had lost his temper after being told that his mic would be cut off if he went over his set time. And instead of him wrapping up, he snapped. He started throwing equipment off the stage and he went into this full-blown outburst. It wasn't just a tantrum, he was launching stuff, and unfortunately one of the items that he threw reportedly hit a police officer, and this gave this police officer a concussion. That night ended with Trey getting arrested and slapped with charges for malicious destruction of property and also resisting arrest.
5 with this new video of R&B star Trey Songz walking out of the Detroit Detention Center after being formally charged with assaulting a police officer. Good to have you with us today at 5. Those charges come after Songz went on a bizarre tantrum last night during a concert at Joe Louis Arena.
Take a look. Here's cell phone video of that incident. One officer was injured after the singer started destroying equipment and just going off because police forced his show to end because of time.
Coco McAvoy live tonight with what we know about what happened last night in a pretty crazy scene, Coco.
That's right, Devin and Kimberly. Trey Songz was performing at the Joe Louis Arena last night when someone told him that he needed to stop because they were running out of time. But the second his mic was cut off, things got out of hand. But his fans are still supporting him, and they came out in droves to see him released from jail today. These girls turned into the paparazzi, snapping photo after photo of Trey Songz leaving jail.
Okay, well, I love you. This is crazy. I just can't believe this is happening. I'm glad he's out. And it's the best birthday present ever.
Trey Songz, or Tremaine Neverson, landed here after an outburst on stage that started as just words.
They cut me off, remember it, and text whoever you want to, and tweet whoever you want to, and tell everybody about it. Because they cut me off, I'm going crazy.
And he did, by throwing stuff when his mic was turned off and allegedly punching an officer who tried to arrest him, giving that officer a concussion. Sean Burt was in the front row watching it all.
It went from the best concert of all time to now he's in jail. It was crazy.
But Jamal Smith, also released today, says Trey Songz made the most of his time in jail.
Yeah, he gave all of us autographs. Like I said, he was singing all night.
So Smith left with a souvenir from Trey Songz.
Whitney from Trey Songz.
While Trey Songz is leaving Detroit with a fresh mugshot and some serious assault charges.
Yeah, next time if I do get tickets to a Trey Songz concert, I might not want to sit in the front because he just might start throwing some stuff.
With those 2 charges, Trey Songz faces up to 5 years in prison, and he'll be back in court next week. Reporting live outside of the detention center, I'm Coco McAvoy, Local 4, back to you.
For a lot of fans, this was the first time this calm, collected image that they knew didn't match the reality. It was like seeing behind the curtain, and what they saw wasn't the romantic crooner from the music videos. It was clearly someone who had trouble managing his anger and who didn't seem to care much about the consequences in the heat of the moment. At the time, many people brushed it off. Some said that it was just a performer being passionate or frustrated with tech issues. But looking back now, that moment just feels a lot more serious. It wasn't just a bad night. It must have been the very first real glimpse of a pattern that was about to get much darker. As if things weren't already unraveling for Trey Songz, the most damaging blow came when multiple women came forward with serious accusations of sexual misconduct. These allegations, some dating back years, they slowly started to snowball, and it ultimately led to a complete shift in public perception. In January 2022, the most shocking accusation came from former University of Nevada, Las Vegas basketball star Dylan Gonzalez. Basically, she took to social media to accuse Trey Songz of raping her at a Las Vegas hotel. Gonzalez was raw and direct in her post, and she said that she had suffered from deep lingering PTSD from the assault, which had been long suppressed, but this now came back to the surface with the endless streams of accusations against Trey Songz. She explained that she was forced to relieve her trauma each time another woman spoke up against Trey Songz, and basically her pain was echoing the experiences of others and other testimonies that people had against Trey Songz. So literally what made Gonzalez's case even more jarring was that she had already subtly alluded to the experience that she had with Trey Songz in a tweet from New Year's Eve in 2021. In that tweet, she flat out said, "Trey Songz is a rapist. Lord forgive me, I couldn't hold her in another year." See you in 2022. That tweet made it clear that something significant had happened and that she was ready to take action. Her attorney, Judge Brabeck, was very clear that legal actions would be pursued, and this signaled just the beginning of a much larger fight. But Gonzalez wasn't the only one, because just a month earlier, in November 2021, police had already launched an investigation into a separate sexual accusation against Trey Songz, and this stemmed from an incident at a Las Vegas Strip hotel. On top of that, Brabeck was also representing Jara Jeffries, a woman who accused Trey Songz of sexual assault at a Miami nightclub in 2018. And Jeffries, who had filed a civil lawsuit against him earlier, refiled her case in December 2021, and this further complicated Trey Songz's legal troubles. The more these cases piled up, the more it became clear that this wasn't just a series of isolated incidents. The weight of these accusations kept growing, and a consistent pattern began to emerge. And this was when things just became worse for Trey Songz, as other voices just joined the chorus. One of the most significant testimonies came from Keke Palmer, who is an actress and a singer, and she publicly spoke out against her own uncomfortable experiences with Trey Songz. Keke Palmer had been open in the past about dealing with discomfort in her professional relationships, but her comments about Trey Songz just caught even more attention. In a 2017 interview with The Breakfast Club, Keke revealed that she had been in a situation with him where she felt that his behavior was inappropriate. She didn't go into graphic details, but Keke Palmer made it clear that she felt disrespected and uncomfortable in the past, and the way that she talked about the whole experience just made it clear that the situation had stuck with her and that it was an issue that she felt should be discussed.
You guys, I'm honestly so upset and so livid that Trey Songz put me in his artist's video because I told him I didn't want to be in that goddamn video. Literally, I had so much fun New Year's, my trip to Miami. And then the last day, I went to his house because they was having a party. And I've known Trey since I was 12 and kept in touch with him consistently. But I've known him, he's seen me throughout my life. We were signed to the same label under the same production manager when I was a kid. So it's always been love whenever I seen him. I knew he was in Miami, he was doing a party, cool, I'm gonna come through. Me and my friends came through, it was a good time. They start playing a song that I happen to be in. They start saying like they want me to be in it. One person asks me, I say no. Another person asks me, I'm like, no. People keep asking me. Now, mind you, they've been giving food, they've been giving drinks, and I'm just starting to feel like, yo, I'm being like cornered, like, and I'm not in a professional situation. Like, I came here for a party, but I'm being pressured to do business, and I'm not in the right mind. I'm under the influence, and I don't feel like it's fair that I'm having to deal with this right now. Really, I keep getting asked and pressured and put in a situation like, you know, like how you would feel as a young girl. I feel like because I didn't go to high school and college, it was like my first experience of a dude being like, come on, like just do this, just do that. Like that's the kind of feeling. Literally, I got so overwhelmed with what to do, didn't know what to do because my Uber wasn't gonna get there quick enough time. So I was like, what do I do in this meantime? I know the shit sounds comical as fuck, but y'all, I hid in the goddamn closet. I hid in the goddamn closet because I was so afraid, like I didn't know what to do. I really, really don't like conflict, and I didn't want to, like, it was just too much. I started to feel overwhelmed. There was like a lot of people constantly saying something. Mind you, my homegirl was so drunk that when they came in, Trey and his assistant, whatever, like they came in trying to find my ass, my homegirl pointed to the closet. Saying something, she in the bathroom. They're like, she not in the bathroom. The bathroom door is open. Like, and she kept pointing to the closet because the closet, y'all, the fact that I fit in there was nuts. Literally, he starts laughing once he opens up the closet and sees I'm in there and sees how nervous I was. He was like, yo, you don't have to be in the video. He was like, damn. He's like, yo, Kiki, if you don't want to be in a pop-up video shoot and you want to say that, that's fine. And it's all good. Like, it's good, sis. Flash forward. I'm in the fucking video. How am I in the video? Then I'm thinking back, oh, I'm in the video because when I was getting pressured, they had set me down. He had set me down on the couch like, this is the idea I have, But I had no idea that they was filming. He's sitting here telling me that's what he's showing me, that they might. And I'm just like, I would never want to say nothing like this public. And I never would want to be like, yo, blah, 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 blah. But honestly, I would be doing a disservice, not only to myself, but to the people that support and follow me if I didn't be like, yo, call this shit out because this shit just not cool. Especially because I'm not the only person this type of stuff happens to. Maybe it's not happening to you with Trey Songz or whoever, but it's happening with you in some situation, you know? And I don't wish to call somebody out, but like, yo, that's not cool. And like for me to look and see the video and to feel that disrespect, like, then you're wrong. You're wrong for saying something. You're wrong for calling something out. Like, no, my thing is just respect me and we're all good. When I say no, let that be that and let's move forward. I just don't appreciate the sexism and the misogyny that is constantly encouraged and accepted. And when it happens and it's done, people want to settle it in private. But the reality is it's not settled in private. The women are disrespected publicly, and then we're supposed to be quiet and accept it. I just can't no more. I just felt like that was a situation that, you know, people was trying to take advantage of me. And then to see that they think they're going to get away with it, no. And it sucks because you don't want that to happen with people that you admire and you love and you support. You want them to protect you. You don't want them to try to take advantage of you. And I think that's why I feel mostly disappointed is because I want to be able to be like, yo, I support my brother and shit like that. But I can't when you don't support me. And what's even worse is when you see the females that feel as if, you know, let it happen to you. Let it happen to you. The fact that even other females don't want to support each other in speaking up when they feel as if they've been taken advantage of or disrespected, that shit is gross. And I'm really not even saying the half of it.
Did you and Trey Songz ever get cool again?
Man, you know, I've not talked to that guy. You know, I've not spoken to that guy.
Was it a misunderstanding?
Like, because you accused him of sexual intimidation last
year.
You know,
it wasn't a misunderstanding.
She told her story of what...
I tell my truth, and you know, I just thought it was real interesting that after all those things went down, you know, someone else had something to say. So it wasn't like, I don't like when people think that somebody is just gonna be saying something just to say it. First of all, I love black people. I love my people. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna try to ever tear nobody down, try to tear no black man down. That's not who I am, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what I stand for. That's not what I'm about. So if I say something, I'm saying something for a reason. And I feel like so many times black women say stuff and nobody gives a shit. Excuse my language. Nobody gives a fuck when sometimes black women say something. But somebody of another complexion, somebody of another color, they say something, and then it's like, we're taking it to court. It's time to get serious. Hashtag me too.
Kiki Palmer's own added a new layer to the growing pile of allegations, and Kiki Palmer, she's a celebrity, so has just put so much eyes on Trey Songz, because she wasn't just a random celebrity. She was someone, or she is someone, who literally has a massive platform. She's respected for her work, and again, her story had weight. And it wasn't long before his fans and the media began growing connections between her comments and the increasing numbers of accusations that were levied against Trey Songz. As these women came forward, each new allegations just chipped away at the image that Trey Songz had been building for so many years. The Trey Songz that everyone once knew, I mean the smooth, charismatic, chart-stopping star, was being replaced with a far more complicated and troubling figure. With each new legal battle, the sense of credibility grew around the idea that Trey's behavior wasn't just an anomaly, it was part of a disturbing trend. For Trey Songz, this was no longer just a string of accusations. It was a full-scale crisis that threatened to undo everything that he had worked for in his career. His fall from grace wasn't no longer a matter of bad press. It was literally a full reckoning with his future in the industry hanging in the balance. As the allegations against Trey Songz mounted, the reaction from both the music industry and his fan base was mixed, and in many ways it was also very revealing. The industry's response in particular has raised uncomfortable questions about accountability. When compared to other artists who had faced similar accusations, some fans and some critics, they couldn't help but notice that Trey Songz seemed to escape the same level of scrutiny or consequences. There was a sense of double standard. Why were other artists being publicly shunned or facing harsher penalties, while Trey Songz's alleged actions didn't seem to lead to the same level of consequences? This kind of disparities just raised doubt about how serious the industry was taking the whole situation. For a long time, it seemed like there was this deafening silence from many people in the industry. There was no major statement, there was no clear actions taken to address the growing list of accusations against Trey Songz. The lack of urgency, especially considering the weight of these allegations, they left so many people questioning if there was a culture of protection or indifference when it came to certain celebrities. Meanwhile, the fans' reaction had even been much more polarized. On one side, there are those who, despite the allegations, they continue to defend Trey Songz and they have this unwavering loyalty for him. Some even argued that his career decline was simply due to the natural ebb and flow of the music industry. Perhaps his sound had grown stale, or his style wasn't just resonating with the audience any longer. Some people even said that his music was too repetitive, or his career had just run its course. And this just became common excuses for those who didn't just want to believe that the allegations against Trey Songz were the true cause of his downfall. But on the other hand, there were the fans that were deeply horrified by the accusations, and they distanced themselves from Trey Songz completely. What became so clear through these polarized reactions is the complex and often problematic nature of fan culture. So many fans are so willing to turn a blind eye to serious allegations if it means that they can continue enjoying the music of their favorite artists, but others aren't as forgiving, and they are ready to take a stand when they feel like their idol is no longer deserving of their support. Even in the broader industry, there were signs that people were starting to distance themselves from Trey Songz, and one of them is no other person than 50 Cent, because 50 Cent himself is a very, very problematic person, but 50 Cent publicly banned Trey Songz from attending one of his events, and that kind of public rejection, even though 50 Cent himself is not okay, it actually speaks volume, and it's as if 50 Cent, who is known for his blunt, no-nonsense approach was just sending a clear message. And this message was, something is wrong here. And when someone like him cut ties with Trey Songz because 50 Cent himself, like I said earlier, is of no use, it's a signal that the industry is quietly taking the accusations seriously, even if they are not saying that much on the record. This divide within the fan base and the measured distancing by certain people in the industry just shows or it highlights the difficult, often uncomfortable conversations happening in the background. While some of them were very eager to forgive, others refused to look past the allegations, and this led to a situation where Trey Songz's career and his public image became affected and became so fractured. It was clear that the tension between the art and the artist was at the forefront as people just grappled with whether or not to separate the music from the man behind it. Trey Songz's career, that was once marked by consistent chart-topping hits and widespread recognition, has taken a sharp nosedive in recent years. The rapid shift in his career trajectory is stark, and as one Reddit user put it, 10 years ago he was everywhere with that Trigger album. That comment just shows how much things have changed for the artist. At the peak of his time, Trey Songz was the epitome of the R&B heartthrob. He was constantly in the spotlight. He had hit singles that defined that era. But fast forward to today, and his presence in the music scene is barely a shadow of what it used to be. I checked his YouTube, he had dropped a song like some weeks ago, and when I checked, it was on 40k views. That's not the Trey Songz that we know. Another telling sign of his decline is the performance of his 2020 album Back Home. While it was released with some anticipation, it failed to capture the kind of commercial success that his previous works had achieved. Back Home didn't break the upper reaches of the Billboard 200, and its singles just struggled to make an impact on the chart. This poor reception was a far cry from the days when Trey Songz was known for having multiple hits on rotation across radio and streaming platforms. It just suggested that his audience was no longer as engaged or loyal, and many fans, they had started to turn away, particularly considering the sexual assault allegations. The reduced presence in the public eye has led to speculations that Trey Songz has been deliberately keeping a lower profile, especially given the ongoing legal battles. I'm not gonna lie, some people actually said that he's worse than Diddy, and now Diddy's case is in court, and every day I'm on Wiggins live wanting to know what's going on, and what I've heard, Diddy is the absolute worst. So if Trey Songz is worse than Diddy, then we have a big problem. Online discussions have pointed to the fact that he seems to have taken a step back from public appearances and also promotional efforts, possibly to avoid further scrutiny or just to manage the fallout from the growing accusations. He appears less like an active choice to take a break and more like a retreat from the public eye or from the spotlight. And this is a strategy that I think he's implemented just to minimize the damage while allegations just hang over him. This retreat from the public eye is a sharp contrast to his once thriving career where he was constantly making headlines, whether for new music, whether for collaborations or high-profile events. Industry reactions to his fall from grace seem to reinforce the idea that his career is in free fall. Comments from industry insiders and even fans, they've suggested that the industry is pretty much keeping their distance from him, and someone who was once a frequent collaborator with major stars like Drake, Nicki Minaj and others, Trey Songz has found himself largely isolated from the music scene. In an industry where connections is literally everything, the lack of support from fellow artists and producers is so telling. His absence from high-profile collaborations or major events just signal how much that he's been sidelined. Some people have also observed, they've actually also said that Trey Songz's decline wasn't purely due to the allegations, and I think it was purely due to his allegations. Some people were like, oh, because there's a change in the R&B landscape, so it has also played a role to him fading into thin air. But the thing is, how many male people are in R&B? There are not that many male musicians in R&B. There's Chris Brown, there's Giveon. There are not that many male people in R&B. If it was rap, I would have been like, okay. But not many people are in R&B for you people to be like, oh, it's because of how R&B is, so his music is kind of stale. Trey Songz is someone who came into the industry with his own sound and people gravitated towards him. So if he evolved, yeah, that means he would have had no problem evolving, because he's someone that was there from the mid 2000s to like 2016. He was doing it big and he had fans. So personally, I believe that his decline was due to all these allegations. People even said that his peak came right after artists like The Weeknd, Frank Ocean, Miguel truly broke out and defined what R&B could sound like. But the thing is, The Weeknd has been out since 2010. I'm an avid The Weeknd fan. I have been studying The Weeknd since 2012. That's when I knew about him, when I just got into university, and I have been studying that man to the rocks fall off, and he is still relevant today. But like Frank Ocean is someone who has his own style. Miguel, people don't really, I don't know if he still sings. So what I'm trying to say is, I do not think that is because of his music, whatever. I think it's because of the accusations. People say that this newer artist, which is so funny because Frank Ocean is not really new. He's been singing, but he was in a group. I think so. I think he was in a group before he came out, or am I mistaking him with Tyler, the Creator? But The Weeknd has been there since 2010. So literally, and The Weeknd, even though I'm the fan of The Weeknd, his sound has not really changed like that. Does that make sense? But The Weeknd does not have as many, does not even have any scandal, and The Weeknd is a very private person. So people have come out and said that Trey Songz sound, which seemed so fresh and engaging, started becoming repetitive, and as the taste of the listener shifted, he just couldn't keep up with the tide changing. But I fully disagree with that. I'm so sorry. That being said, the allegations against him, undeniably, in my own opinion, they played a very major role in accelerating the decline. So whatever you think, I just think that the allegation against him was just the end. The multiple accusations of sexual assault just created a storm of negative press, and the public's perception of him just shifted from him being this charming, smooth R&B star to a controversial and problematic figure. Even if some of his musical decline could be chalked up to changing trends in the industry, the weight of the legal battles and the growing list of accusations, they were a catalyst for his swift fall from grace. In the end, it's very clear that Trey Songz' career wasn't just as a natural evolution of the music industry or changes in the audience preferences. It was about how a series of troubling personal and legal issues began to overshadow his artistic output, and it made it difficult for him to maintain his status as one of R&B's leading artists. Trey Songz' rise and fall in the music industry forces us to confront important questions about fame, accountability, and how the industry handles allegations of misconduct. His case is not an isolated one, but it's part of a very disturbing pattern where powerful male celebrities are shielded by their status until the weight of accusations or of these allegations becomes undeniable. For example, Diddy. These allegations that have been going on against Diddy has been there for time. People have been speaking about it. It was just mere gossip, not until Cassie literally filed a report against him and he settled in 24 hours. And when people saw how quick he settled, other people were like, yes, he did this to me, he did that to me. And for so long, people were speaking about how evil Diddy is. Even Lovely T was speaking about how she didn't like Diddy, and nobody paid attention. People were always like telling her to shut up. And now everything has come to the limelight. For a long time, Trey Songz was able to maintain a level of success and popularity despite the fact that he was being accused of this troubling incident. And the thing that protected him was his fame. His fame just allowed him to keep moving forward in his career, while so many others, particularly women, were left to deal with the fallout from such allegations without the same level of attention or protection. Delayed response to the growing accusations against Trey Songz is particularly troubling. It reflects a broader societal issues regarding how sexual misconduct claims are handled, especially when it involves those who are powerful, who are rich, or are beloved public figures. There's a comment I saw and somebody compared Chris Brown and Trey Songz. The person was like, literally worse than Chris Brown, but white people don't know who Trey is. And it's a statement that literally underscores how media coverage and public awareness often plays a crucial role in how cases are being handled. In the end, it seems like being a well-known figure, especially a male artist, allows one to avoid immediate consequences, with the public and industry often willing to overlook serious allegations until they can no longer be ignored. It's a chilling reminder of how celebrity culture can sometimes prioritize fame over the well-being of survivors, contributing to a culture of silence or indifference towards serious allegations. The music industry has historically struggled with holding its stars accountable for bad behavior. Often, the drive for profit and the desire to protect lucrative careers have trumped ethical considerations. That's why artists like Trey Songz continue to receive commercial support despite mounting allegations, because at that time his music was selling and his performance, they drew crowds, and because of that, the music industry, his music label, his peers, they found that his brand was so valuable, so they did not do anything at that time to put him to order. So while the Me Too movement had sparked important conversations around these issues, the response from the music industry, like I said, has been very, very uneven. Some artists, they face severe backlash for their actions, while others, they seem to slip through the cracks, largely because their popularity outweighs the consequences of their behavior. Trey Songz's case is a stark example of this ongoing imbalance, as his situation highlights the lengths to which the industry has been willing to go to protect its stars and preserve profit. Trey Songz's journey from R&B superstar to industry pariah is a cautionary tale about the volatile nature of fame and the long-lasting effects of serious misconduct allegations. Once an artist who could command chart-topping success with multiple platinum albums, Grammy nominations, and millions of records sold, Trey Songz now finds himself as a shadow of his former self, facing public scorn and dwindling career prospects. The multiple allegations of sexual assault alongside his earlier outbursts and legal issues have left an indelible stain on his legacy. For so many fans, especially the former fans, the weight of this accusation has made his music difficult, if not impossible, to listen to. The question of whether it's possible or ethical to separate the art from the artist becomes very, very central here. Some people continue to support him, perhaps hoping to vindicate or hoping for a public redemption. But for others, the allegations are so severe that they completely have turned away. They're no longer able to separate the artist's talent from the harm that they may have caused or they are accused to have caused. While the legal outcomes against the various allegations and accusations against him are still unfolding, it's very, very clear that the damage to his reputation and career is already profound and far-reaching. In the end, Trey Songz's downfall just serves as a somber reminder of the responsibilities that comes with fame and power, and it forces us to reflect on the importance of holding public figures accountable, no matter how beloved or successful they may be. It also highlights the urgent need to listen to survivors and believe them when they come forward, even if those survivors are speaking up against a celebrity. Of course, I know not everybody tells the truth when it comes to accusing people. Trey Songz's story is a stark example of how celebrity culture can enable abuse, but it also signals the need for change. And it's a change that must come from the industry, the public, and every individual who values integrity and justice over adoration of fame. So guys, that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for stopping by. And if you reach the end, kindly drop a black emoji, and thank you so much. Click the link in my bio to get a free toy or a free gift card from Bellesa, and let me know your do I want to know your experience? No, I don't want to know your experience. Thank you, you're not my girlfriend. But thank you guys so much. I really do love and appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, and I hope you guys enjoyed that toy like I did. Okay, till next time, bye.